Welcome, everyone, and call to order the Monday, May 6, 2024 meeting of the Lake Zurich Village Board. Clerk Kathleen Johnson, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Boynton?
Here.
Trustee Bobrowski?
Here.
Trustee Euchre?
Here.
Trustee Spicone?
Present.
Trustee Chagru?
Here.
Trustee Wider?
Present.
Trustee Riley is absent and excused.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okey doke. Roger, any signed in? No? Okay. No? So, one more chance. Anybody wants to speak at public comment, raise your hand and head up there, or I'll close it and we'll move on. Nobody's making a move, so I'm going to close public comment and move on to the President's report. And I'm going to go up to the podium for that, so bear with me. So as you can tell by the room, we must have a lot of stuff on the President's report tonight. So the first thing I want to start with is an announcement and a recognition of our first Lake Zurich Green Business Award winner. The Village of Lake Zurich previously launched its Green Business Award program. The Green Business Award seeks to promote and recognize environmentally sustainable businesses in our community. The award recognizes environmentally conscious businesses in the Village of Lake Zurich, organizations that demonstrate exceptional leadership in integrating sustainable practices into their daily business operations, driving positive change in the Lake Zurich community, and helping clients meet their needs for recycling options. I'm proud to announce G2 Revolution as Lake Zurich's first winner of the Green Business Award. And I'd ask President Scott DeMuth and Environmental Project Coordinator Hannah Julian to come on up here for a second. G2 Revolutions, located at 800 Church Street, is a pioneering force in sustainable business practices. The Green Business Award highlights G2 Revolution's sustainable innovation in their search for green possibilities, challenging traditional products and making active contributions to solving the world's recycling problems. G2 has implemented numerous initiatives aimed at promoting green business practices across its operations. A few of those initiatives include providing recycling services for hard-to-recycle items for retailers and manufacturers across the United States, helping to look for innovative end-of-life solutions for their products. Eliminating single-use water bottles, G2 provides reusable water bottles to all current and newly onboarded personnel who join the team. Eliminating the use of styrofoam, G2 uses fully compostable cups, plates, and silverware in its facility. Conducting an on-site facility assessment from ComEd and implementing 100% LED lighting in tandem with skylights for natural lighting in the warehouse and task lighting in certain areas. Installing electric vehicle charging stations in 2023 to encourage employees to buy EV. And launching a native landscaping project with horticultural consultants to install native species, vegetation, and regularly remove invasive plants that are found on site. G2 Revolution also exemplifies community leadership with its ongoing partnerships with several local nonprofits such as Lake County Haven, the Ancient Oaks Foundation, and Elah Historical Society. G2 Revolution has committed to social responsibility with these nonprofit partnerships that benefit food banks, conservation efforts, and housing support for women and children. The Village of Lake Zurich is proud to acknowledge the leadership and dedication to environmental sustainability that G2 Revolution has shown. This thriving Lake Zurich company is a prime example of thinking about future generations, not just profit, and being an industry leader in environmental protections. Congratulations to G2 Revolution.
Just like to say thank you to the entire community. Really appreciate it.
Eventually.
All you folks, some of whom I've met recently, actually. But thank you so much. We've been here for several years, and we've really appreciated the cooperation with the village on everything. It's really helped us be successful and to concentrate on our business and to grow what we're doing. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Okay.
Mayor, you want a picture?
Want to grab a picture?
Oh, okay.
There we go. Perfect, thank you. Let's have,
Okay. Moving on. The rest of the night is cop night. So, one of my favorite Lake Zurich cops has retired. We have a proclamation honoring Deputy Chief David Anderson upon his retirement from the Village of Lake Zurich after 28 years of public service. Chief Husak, would you join me up here? And if you have the video ready to go, we'd like to play the video. Chief, you want to say anything?
One of my favorite Lake Zurich cops as well.
Where is Dave Anderson? So on the video screen, we have Dave's walkout ceremony, what, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago?
24th.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get to see what the walkout ceremony is for both police and fire, so I decided that this time we would show Dave's walkout ceremony. It's not just Dave, it's more with than that, so just keep watching, and I'm going to read the proclamation. So this is a proclamation honoring Deputy Chief David Anderson upon his retirement from the Village of Lake Zurich after 28 years of public service. I'm going to read the first whereas and then skip the whereases after that. Whereas David Anderson began his career with the Lake Zurich Police Department as a patrol officer on December 27, 1995. And David Anderson served the residents of Lake Zurich as a patrol officer, traffic officer, patrol sergeant, criminal investigations sergeant, criminal investigations commander, field operations commander, administration commander, and support services deputy chief. And Deputy Chief Anderson has been recognized on numerous occasions for his work related to DUI and drug enforcement by the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists, traffic crash investigations, and aiding outside agencies for significant events. And Deputy Chief Anderson served all the residents of Lake County as a member of the Northern Illinois Police Alarm System, NIPAS, Mobile Field Force, and the Lake County Major Crash Assistance Team, MCAT. And Deputy Chief Anderson served as the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 190 President and Lake Zurich Police Pension Board Secretary for numerous years. And Deputy Chief Anderson has received numerous commendations, awards, and recognition for outstanding police work, including life-saving and Pride Department awards. Whereas Deputy Chief Anderson officially retired from the Lake Zurich Police Department on April 24th, 2024. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Tom Poynton, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the citizens of Lake Zurich, do hereby recognize the contribution that Deputy Chief David Anderson has made to the citizens of Lake Zurich during his successful career in law enforcement, and I extend my personal best wishes to his well-deserved retirement for continued success in life's pursuit. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So as I mentioned, one of my favorite people here, one of the main reasons I came to Lake Zurich, Dave and I were on a variety of commissions and organizations across Lake County before I started here, and he gave me a lot of great advice about what was happening here in Lake Zurich and really made me want to come here. And as you saw from that proclamation, he sat in just about every chair in our department, did great work at each one of those, and as evidenced by the people that support him here, we just thank him. 28 years is a great career, and are proud of him because he is now the chief in Lakemore, and just took over last week, and we're really proud of him, so we wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors in that next chapter that he's going to open up right now. So, you want to say a few things, Dave?
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys taking the time tonight. I know your time is precious, and I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody coming. I've addressed the officers and my family at my retirement party, but thank you very much for the support. I really appreciate it. You guys are my brothers and sisters, and you guys mean a great deal to me. Thank you to the Fire and Police Commission, Mr. Hilt, Mr. Bush, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Grooms and Mr. Kelly hired me, and Deputy Chief Johnson back in 1995, and they're still, here at it doing the thing, and I really appreciate your hard work and taking time out of your lives to help us get good quality people. To the department staff, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed working with you every day. You've been great to me, a great help. I've always said, whether it's the police department or the village, over time, I can count on one hand the amount of days I didn't enjoy coming to work here. I can count on my hand the number of times I didn't laugh or enjoy myself or enjoy communicating with everybody, and it's because of the people that are here, and it's rare. It's really rare. So you have a good department, you have a good village, you have a good staff, and I'm very proud of it. To the village board, thank you so much for everything over the years. To the previous village boards, Mayor Poynton, thank you so much for your support, and it means a lot to me. And Lake Zurich's very special, and you should be proud of what you have here as the staff that you have on hand. They care. You guys keep being your best, okay?
Yes, sir.
And thank you again. I really appreciate it, and I don't think I screwed it up. No.
Yeah. Let's hope that you drop that.
Be good. The family photo will be 3. Hey. Yeah. Yes, sir. Real quick. Thanks. I appreciate you. I don't want to take it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Did you want to wait later? Very good. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Taking pictures?
I think we're going to do it at the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The retirement of Deputy Chief David Anderson has created new opportunities for advancement within the police department. Chief Usack and the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, that being John Kelly, Mike Hilt, Marty Bush, will handle the promotions and the new promotions and the oaths of office. So I'm going to give it to the chief and get out of the way.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to repeat what Dave said. Thank you so much for your time. We've commandeered a lot of the board meeting tonight. As mentioned, it's a significant change when senior command retires and replacements are made, and we have that tonight. So Sergeant Colin Gaffney is being promoted to the rank of deputy chief tonight. Colin, you want to come here and join me? Colin Gaffney began his career with the Lake Zurich Police Department in 2008 as a patrol officer and was selected as a detective in 2015. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2018 and has been functioning as the Traffic Safety Division sergeant since 2020. Colin holds a bachelor's degree in sociology from Roosevelt University and a master's degree in criminal and social justice from Lewis University. He also recently completed Northwestern University Center for Public Safety's School of Police Staff and Command. Colin is a member of the Lake County Incident Management Assistance Team, the Illinois Health and Hospital Association Medical Disaster Preparedness and Response Coalition, and is working on his Illinois Professional Emergency Manager certification. Sergeant Gaffney has the necessary operational experience and administrative skills to perform at the deputy chief level. He has excellent communication skills and is extremely organized and reliable. During his career, he has successfully collaborated with all of the village departments and a wide variety of outside organizations on a multitude of projects, assignments, and special events. So I am happy and proud to offer this oath of office to Colin Gaffney as deputy chief. So Colin, you need to join me up here. Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Colin D. Gaffney,
I, Colin D. Gaffney,
after having been appointed to the position of deputy chief
having been appointed to the position of Deputy Chief
in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
while faithfully protecting lives and property
as I discharge the duties
of Deputy Police Chief
to
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Colin's wife Missy is going to come and pin his badge on him. Congratulations. Yes.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mr.
And with Colin's promotion, we now have a vacancy at the rank of sergeant. Cole Beitelman, if you would join me up here right behind me. Cole Beitelman is going to be promoted to the rank of sergeant tonight. Cole has worked for the Lake Zurich Police Department since 2015. He received a bachelor's degree in law enforcement and justice administration with minors in history and homeland security from Western Illinois University. Cole worked as a patrol officer for the first few years of his career and has also functioned as the board president for our local FOP, Fraternal Order of Police Lodge. Officer Beitelman has been assigned to the Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group, that's a county-wide drug task force, on 2 occasions. He spent 2 years as an undercover agent from 2018 to 2020. He returned to the patrol division due to some internal staffing shortages during the pandemic, and then returned back to Lake County MEG in 2021 as a Special Operations Unit member. He was called back again in 2023 because of some staffing needs and is currently on the midnight shift as the officer in charge. So he is in charge when the sergeant is not working. So Cole is going to be promoted tonight, and because this falls under the jurisdiction of the Fire and Police Commission, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Hilt, who will take care of the honors.
Let's get it done, huh? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Cole P. Beitelman,
I, Cole P. Beitelman,
having been promoted to the position of police sergeant in the
Having-
Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
having been promoted to the position of police sergeant in the Village of Lake Zurich,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
while faithfully protecting lives and property
while faithfully protecting lives and property
as I discharge the duties of police sergeant
as I discharge the duties of police sergeant
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Cole. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Yeah. Congratulations, sir.
Cole's dad is going to pin his badge on him. Yeah, it's hot in this coat. And with a promotion to sergeant, we are also backfilling those positions. We have two new officers we'd like to introduce to the village today. First is Peter Dudek. Is Peter right here? There's Peter. Officer Peter Dudek started with the Lake Zurich Police Department just this past February, a couple of months ago. Prior to joining the Lake Zurich Police Department, he was a state trooper, Illinois State Trooper for 16 years. He is a native of Poland and has a degree in fine arts and music from the University of Music in Krakow, Poland. He also has a variety of law enforcement certifications that will be a benefit to the police department and the community. And he's currently in his field training program right now. So I will have one of the commissioners come up and issue the oath of office to Peter.
That's Commissioner Marty Bush.
Raise your right hand, please. I, Peter A. Dudek,
I, Peter A. Dudek,
having been appointed to the position of police officer in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
having been appointed to the position of police officer in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
and enforce the law of the Village of Lake Zurich,
while faithfully protecting lives and property
while faithfully protecting lives and property,
as I discharge the duties of police officer
as I discharge the duties of police officer
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Peter.
Oh, boy. They're going to do a bunch of pictures outside, right? But I want to do the four of them at least. No, his wife couldn't make it, so he just said, I'll just do it. I'll take a picture. Yeah, Miss Wills. And finally, for this segment, William Lewandowski is our next newest officer. So William, I know, is right behind me. There's William. Officer William Lewandowski started with Lake Zurich Police Department just at the end of April. Prior to joining the Lake Zurich Police Department, he was a police officer in Morton Grove. Officer Lewandowski attended Western Illinois University and obtained a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minor in psychology, and he's currently in his first phase of field training. So Commissioner Kelly will handle the honors of swearing William in.
William, raise your right hand, please. I, William W. Lewandowski,
I, William W. Lewandowski,
having been appointed to the position of police officer
have been appointed to the position of police officer
in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
in the Village of Lake Zurich Police Department,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich
and enforce the laws of the Village of Lake Zurich,
while faithfully protecting lives and property
while faithfully protecting lives and property,
as I discharge the duties of police officer
as I discharge the duties of police officer
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
William, welcome.
William's cousin is going to pin his badge on him. Cousin is coming. Thank you again for indulging us. It's an exciting time to promote people and to have new officers join us. I could have those four gentlemen come up and we'll take a quick group picture, and then I know they want to take a lot of group pictures, and they said they were going to do a lot of them outside.
Let me just get through the last three things real quick, and
Sure.
then you can have the floor for
Yes,
a few
sir.
minutes to take all the pictures you want.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to do is somebody get a picture of the three fire and police commissioners, Mike Hill, Marty Bush, and John Kelly. These three guys do a lot of work in getting us quality people, both in the police and the fire department, and we appreciate that. That looks more like a mug shot. Thanks to you guys. We appreciate you. Okay, good deal. Thanks, guys. Next item on the president's report is the advice and consent of the trustees to appoint Sergeant Eric Bereza to the Community and Police Advisory Committee. The Community and Police Advisory Committee's mission is the identification and recommendation of actions with respect to the use of roadways, parking, motor vehicles, pedestrians, or other forms of transportation within the boundaries of the village. Recommendations are made to the village board based on national standards of traffic management and safety. The 7-member commission meets quarterly on the third Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Police Department, 200 Mohawk Trail. This evening, I'm pleased to present and recommend Sergeant Eric Bereza to the Village Board of Trustees for its advice and consent in officially appointing him to the Community and Police Advisory Committee. Sergeant Bereza has been with the LZPD since 2005. During these 19 years, he served as both patrol officer and a traffic safety division officer. During this time in the traffic unit, Eric became a credentialed accident reconstructionist. Eric was promoted to sergeant in 2021 and will become the traffic safety sergeant on May 1st, 2024. Are there any questions or comments from the boards regarding this recommendation? Nope? Okay, then may I have a motion, please, to approve and affirm Sergeant Eric Bereza appointment to the Community and Police Advisory Committee?
So moved, Whiter.
And a second, please?
Second, Euchre.
Okay, and would Clerk Johnson, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Trustee Bobrowski.
Aye.
Trustee Spicone.
Aye.
Trustee Sugru.
Aye.
Trustee Weider.
Aye.
Okay, Eric's now on the Police, Community and Police Advisory Committee. So we have two more things. They're quick. They're two proclamations. The first proclamation declares May 12th to the 18th, 2024 as Police Week. This proclamation urges all citizens of Lake Zurich to observe May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of their duties. The second proclamation declares May 19th to the 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week. This proclamation recognizes the 50th anniversary of this event and proclaims the week of May 19th to the 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week. It urges all citizens and healthcare professionals to celebrate the EMS Week 2024 theme of honoring our past, forging our future, and to become familiar with emergency medical services, its programs and activities in our state and nationally, and to support and participate in educational outreach programs to increase their knowledge in emergency medical care. The full text of these proclamations can be seen at the Village website. That's the end of the President's report, and you guys can take a couple minutes to take pictures, so we'll sit here and wait for that to happen, so. Thank you all. Still do it.
You can. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, it kind of fell out of vogue, but we're targeted for putting blue lights out. Vandalism. It was pre-COVID, so it seems like a distant memory, but it became. We had them out. We had blue light bulbs that the chief had acquired from, I think, from Home Depot, donated all to us. And that was going for a while.
One more round of applause for Dave Anderson and the new guys.
Since it's a nice evening, I think they want to take some pictures outside too, so.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chief. Outside.
Big button goes forward. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just me, I got warm in here with this stupid jacket on.
Let's fire that up. Is it?
I'll be back.
Okay, moving forward, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda items will be read by the clerk and approved by a single roll call vote. Any item may be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote by any member of the board. Clerk Johnson, please read the titles.
6A, approval of minutes from the village board meeting of April 15th, 2024. 6B, approval of executive session minutes from the village board meeting of, and it should be March 18th, 2024, as the March 4th one have already been approved, the previous meeting. 6C, approval of semi-monthly warrant registered dated May 6, 2024, totaling $1,991,922.15. 6D, ordinance amending various chapters, Title 8 and Title 9 of the Lake Zurich Municipal Code, assigned ordinance 2024-05-568. 6D, resolution approving the public release of executive session meeting minutes of the Lake Zurich Village Board of Trustees, assigned resolution 2024-05-085. 6F, four-year agreement with Stryker for stair chairs and power load cot systems in the amount not to exceed $41,248, paid in 4 annual installments. 6G, agreement with Pipe View America for 2024 sewer televising inspection program in the amount not to exceed $100,000. 6H, resolution of the Village of Lake Zurich, Lake County, Illinois, to induce the development of certain properties within the industrial district tax increment financing redevelopment project area number 4 for Industrial Wire and Cable Corporation at 595 Rose Road, assigned resolution 2024-05-086. 6I, Paulus Park for Lakeside Pavilion reservation for Philip's family graduation party on July 20th, 24. 6J, ordinance appointing a director and alternate director to represent the Village of Lake Zurich on the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency, assigned ordinance 2024-05-569. 6K, agreement with Alpha Maintenance and Services for 2024 hydrant painting in the amount not to exceed $83,700. 6L, agreement with Martin Enterprises for replacement of the Police Department firearms range ventilation system in the amount not to exceed $418,724. 6M, surety reduction for Bish Creative Display at 940 Tulsa Road to $998.10. 6N, ordinance approving the vacation of certain unimproved right-of-way at Heritage Church located at 255 Quentin Road, assigned ordinance 2024-05-570. And 6O, agreement with MGT of America Consulting for classification and compensation study in the amount not to exceed $30,000.
Okay, thank you. Any board questions or discussion desired on any item?
I just wanted to ask about item L.
Hold on. Or would anybody like any item pulled for a separate vote?
Sorry.
Trustee Spacone.
I just had a question about item L. We budgeted $250,000. Were we just...
Which item?
Item L, the replacement of the ventilation system. I know we budgeted $250,000. How were we so far off on the cost?
This went through a consultant, And so this, when we went through the process, when we budgeted for it, was prior to us engaging with the consultant and doing the design. So we took a shot at it collectively with the police department and Public Works, and that was the low bid, low responsible bid. There is a grant associated with this as well, Chief?
Yeah, the equipment involved in this is completely specialized that it, based on our knowledge to start the project, didn't realize. And the consultant gave us good information. They were vetted as far as doing many firearms ranges in Illinois. In addition to that, we were able to secure a DCEO grant thanks to Senator McConkey's office for $125,000, which is a nice addition to that, so help bring some of it down. But our initial thoughts, it turns out that this piece of equipment and the ventilation ductwork that needed to be moved is just very expensive.
And is this the original that's in there from when it was built?
This is the original, so as you know, the board was generous enough to replace, an $850,000 roof last year. We have replaced other HVAC roof units. There are 6, 7 on that police department every 5 years or so, and this is just a needed item. It's just very specialized, unfortunately.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And you did get 3 bids in total, right?
Just, absolutely, this thing went out to bid, gosh, it's probably been a couple months now since it's gone out to bid. But
Okay.
yeah, public bid.
Okay. Anybody else? Comment? Question? Poll? Nope. Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, but with corrections noted by Clerk Johnson. And may I have a second, please?
I'll second Spacone.
Spacone and Clerk Johnson, please call the roll.
Trustee Bobrowski?
Aye.
Trustee Euchre?
Aye.
Trustee Spacone?
Aye.
Trustee Chagru?
Aye.
Trustee Weider?
Aye. Okay, the consent agenda passes, and that's the end of the consent agenda. We move on to new business. New business is a Lakecom Consolidated Dispatch Services update. It's a non-voting item at this time. Roger Chagru.
In summary, in 2022, the Village of Lake Zurich entered into an intergovernmental agreement for and contributed $50,000 to an effort to establish a consolidated 911 dispatch operations center to serve Lake County. Over the past 2 years, the village staff has actively participated in the planning process for a new consolidated dispatch center, anchored by a new facility being built in Libertyville by Lake County. Staff will provide an update on the planning process as it nears conclusion, including recommendations for a new intergovernmental agreement establishing Lakecom as the 911 dispatch center for the Lake Zurich and its partner agencies.
Okay, Chief?
Thank you. As the mayor said, this is really police night. I'll start by going through a presentation, and then Mr. Keller can fill in if you'd like on things that I miss, and feel free to jump in if you would like to. So this is just a progress update on what's called Lakecom, which is a facility that is being built in Libertyville. It's addressing a problem that we have in Lake County, and that's called call transfers for 911. This multicolored map shows all the different dispatch centers in the county and how disjointed they are, that when someone calls 911 in an emergency, sometimes their call can get transferred, sometimes it goes to, if they're on the edge of one service area and a different service area, that calls can be transferred, and that delays valuable time. So a number of years ago, there's been a lot of studies done that consolidating things to a larger regional center would be advantageous. So PSAPs, for short, public safety answering points, are the dispatch centers throughout the county. It's mutually beneficial for the public and for police and fire departments to consolidate. This move is supported by the state of Illinois. The last time there was a move by the state to mandate some consolidation was 2016, and that's when the Wakanda Police Department closed their center and came to Lake Zurich. We take over Wakanda Police and Fire. There are a lot of benefits. As mentioned, reduced call transferring. You have to remember that when people call 911, they're not just doing it from a landline at their home. They might be on their way to work, they might be at work, they might be visiting someone, many cell phones. So it's not to say that a hardline phone is going to get you to the right place. It does. But with all the advancements in cellular technology, et cetera, this is a great time to do this. Staffing is always an issue for us. We have a small center that dispatches for 6 police departments and 2 fire departments. We have generally 2 to sometimes 3 dispatchers on at one time. If we get a large incident or a weather event, our people are swamped instantly. To have a large center with 20, 30 dispatchers and call takers on the floor is a great advantage to provide some redundancy, to help us with enhanced coverage for 24/7, and to also improve interagency response and backup. If more resources are needed, there's people in the same facility realizing that Mundalight's had an issue and who's nearby and what can we do to get there and help them. We also are going to do, by having a consolidated center, all the data is going to be correlated. We're doing that already, where a brand new countywide computer-aided dispatch system, police records management system, has just gone in and gone live on April 16th, and that's a great tool for police and fire to start sharing information, and to be able to make the officers and firefighters more efficient to know what's going on in historical data between calls that you go to, and to not have disparate systems that don't talk to each other. There's an efficiency here, operational savings by coordinating all of the centers together as far as redundancy with HR fees, HR costs, employment, things like that. And for us as Lake Zurich, this would hopefully bring us a reduction in future capital investment to support our own center, that the technology we have to keep up with, the things that we have in Lake Zurich could be then pushed out to a larger group. And as mentioned, we have duplicate technology going on. That's a first step with this technology that just moved ahead in April, is a good move. So by having this now, it's going to help us in the future. Some of the core requirements, this is what we had talked, as mentioned in the introduction, of an IGA that we signed, that all the PSAPs signed into to get some funds together to do a study, has already gone through, and a consultant came back and supported consolidation and gave us a lot of great direction. The core requirement being basically we're getting the right people to the right place, with the right information as rapidly as possible, so that they can have the safety they need, people can monitor them. And then the gray box on the outside, there's additional things having to do with other services of a consolidated center that the current centers do that would be determined as the joint governance moves on. What we will be coming forth with is a second IGA to actually sign up to say, are you part of this new consolidated center? It's an intergovernmental cooperative. It's not a run by one agency. It's not a contract, things like that. But it also creates a pathway if a public safety agency does not want to join this group now, that they have an on-ramp. They have a way to do it in the future. There are some that are looking at that saying, it might be a great idea, I want to take a wait and see. But it includes strong bylaws, governance, it lays out what the cost sharing will be, et cetera, et cetera. So we would transition from the individual PSAPs all around the county to a new facility located in Libertyville. The intergovernment agreement would establish the bylaws, which would then get into establishing the structure, what functions are going to be provided there, and a way for current dispatchers of all the different centers to transition to the new center. So that if our center closed, all of our people, we need all the people we can get. We need experienced people that know the county, and that would be a great opportunity for them to work in a state-of-the-art, brand-new facility with the best modern equipment, and have, quite frankly, a lot of opportunities. Our center is small. We have 12 dispatchers and 2 supervisors. You go to a large center with over 100 dispatchers, 100 employees, many more supervisory opportunities, many more directorships and things like that. The timelines and insurance and migration issues is what we will work on as things go ahead. So our goal is probably this summer is to come back to you and provide this second IGA and decide if that's something that the Village of Lake Zurich would like to be involved in. So the facility itself, the Regional Operations Communications Facility, called the ROC for short, is being built right now. It is at the Lake County facility in Libertyville. It provides a large part of it being dispatch, but the other part of it being emergency management for the County of Lake. So part of the building will be covered by the emergency management workers there from Lake County, and will also contain their EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. So they have a new hardened facility that the County of Lake is spending over $40 million to construct. The Lake County Board has been instrumental to this. They've taken a lot of funding. They're leading the way, reminding that the LakeCom, the cooperative, will lease the space, will be the governing agency of this group. It's not a Lake County facility. But it's a hardened facility, it's geothermal, it's better than any facility in the whole county. Ours is great, but this is weatherproof, it's hardened security-wise and for weather, which is a really great thing to have a brand new facility. The new public agency is joint membership, joint governance. It's not a taxing body, it's not the County of Lake. So all members will have an equal vote, which will disrupt, I believe, one of the things that I don't care for right now is a competitive nature of dispatch centers. It's a race to the bottom, as somebody once wisely told me, in which there's costs involved and you're competing with other centers because someone might go somewhere else. This is going to equalize those costs across all the different agencies, large and small. Membership is open to cities, villages, all the fire protection districts, the County of Lake, other units of local government. So if the College of Lake County wanted to come on, or the Forest Preserve, those kinds of things, we have to cover all the different kinds of government. And in addition, there's an on-ramp for agencies if they would like to come in at a later date. There'll be a member board that will approve all the bylaws and go through all of the operational things. Just a very brief rundown of what that board would be, because if you had 20 or 30 or 40 agencies involved, that's unwieldy to have a board with that many people. So representative government, in which you'd have a 7-member board, chairs coming from either police, fire, or administrators, managers, finance people, HR people, as rotating through in 2-year terms or whatever. But then a mix. You've got a Lake County representatives, you've got a fire district trustee, a fire chief, and a police chief coming from the county chiefs associations. They would choose whoever the representative would be for those 2-year periods. And then as an executive director that would then break down to the staff and then advisory committees, and those would report back to the executive director, who would then report back to the board. In parallel to this, the ETSB, Emergency Telephone System Board, that's where you get funding from state surcharge that helps fund 911 systems. We're part of the Lake County ETSB, which is a large, we don't have our own individual. Some communities have their own individual. We're part of a large Lake County one, and what would happen is all of the ETSBs and JETSBs basically would fold into this larger new joint ETSB, which would be representative of the jurisdictions that are part of this group. So we don't have to worry about that because we don't have our own ETSB. We don't have to vote. We don't have to have ordinance on that. But just letting you know, there is a parallel that supports how these systems run and how some funding is used. So these are the two parallels, as I mentioned. Right now, there are different, so these are the ETSBs and JETSBs, some that cover different villages, 2-3 villages. CENTCOM is kind of the Round Lake area, and then we're part of Lake County, which covers a vast majority of the rest of the county. The establishment of this next IGA would be for LakeCom to develop that, coming with it, bylaws, the org chart, and the budget estimates, et cetera, that we had talked about. There also will be some transition funding needed and some transitional plans for the technology that needs to happen between now and then. And then just a little bit about who the partner dispatch centers are right now. So us, Vernon Hills, CENTCOM, which is that Round Lake area, Countryside Fire, which is near Vernon Hills area, Gurney, Fox Lake, and Mundelein. Some of those have partners, clients like we do. Just a little bit about potentially all the different agencies in the county. And who they're dispatched by. So as you can see, Lake Zurich, fire and Wakanda Fire handled by us. And then you've got a little rundown of all the different departments. This will be pushed out this summer to every individual village and organization if they'd like to join. So right now, our partner is covered by us, but then they would make that individual. That municipality would make the individual decision if they would like to join to this new group. Generally just some really generic budget info. We have a core budget for technology, contract services. Personnel is a very high number because you have a lot of personnel involved, and that's variable. The estimate right now is over 100 telecommunicators and then shift supervisors and administrators. And a gross budget of about $17 million, which is very close to, actually, if you add up all the different PSAPs around the county, it's actually over that right now. So that's a little taste of kind of what this would cost. As mentioned, there is 911 surcharge revenue that comes to the ETSBs. That can be used for, it's a very specific reasons you can use that for operation of a 911 system. You can pay for technology, you can pay for some staff, things like that. So that kind of estimation is taking a number off the top where we talk about surcharge revenue, other revenue, and we get down to about a $9 million net budget. As far as Lake Zurich goes, it annually costs us a little over $800,000 after our partners have contributed to run our center, and a projected share right now is a cascading downward a little bit of what it would cost the Village of Lake Zurich to be a part of this group. So certainly there are cost savings there, but it shouldn't be keyed on that it's a savings. This is efficiencies. This is better to get more people involved. I'll give you an example. There is a regional center that handles a lot of the North Shore communities. They will point to the reason they had success at the Highland Park disaster at 4th of July is they had a lot of people on that floor that were able to get services where they needed to go. As I mentioned, we get a weather event here, and our people get overwhelmed very quickly with as many agencies we have. So the redundancy is a good thing for the public. So the next thing, we don't have to worry about a JETSB of Lake County ordinance, but a Lake Com PSAP ordinance is what we would want to consider. And then we would start working, if we chose to do that, the transition efforts. What are we doing with our people? What are we doing to keep our operation going between now and then? And also the discussion of possibly a stay agreement with our current dispatchers. We want all them to stay till the end. We also want to really encourage them to be members of this new organization. So as with business and things like that, with severance packages or stay agreements, that is a common thing. And many agencies are starting to look into those. And Mr. Gibson and I have been talking through with our staff, and our staff has talked to their FOP representatives to talk through what that would look like. I'll let Mr. Keller fill in anything I missed, sir.
Well, we have a special guest in the audience tonight. Deputy County Administrator Jim Hawkins has been at the center of the storm from the very beginning, moving along a path to push all of the PSAPs together, trying to wrangle as many cats and squirrels and other critters that we all sometimes behave like into a common direction, looking and seeing how we can make a consolidated dispatch center operation a reality for Lake County, making it better, safer, much more efficient, more effective for all of our residents, regardless of what jurisdiction they happen to be in when they are having a bad moment and need to call 911. So thank you, Jim, for all your leadership and your efforts at getting us here to this point, and looking forward to all that you're doing beyond that. Also want to recognize Chief Husak for all of his leadership. He's been actively involved. There's a lot of Chief Husak and Lake Zurich DNA woven into the fabric of this organization from his efforts. Our dispatch coordinators, Ann Harper and Heather Cipolla, have been very involved. Michael Dubner's been heavily involved in working with the ETSB staff and the technology side of things. I've attended a few meetings, read a few documents. So, no, we've been very tag teaming. Doug has been actively involved as well in talking and backing me up with the chief and talking about how make it work with the personnel. Particular concern that we will have is as we are standing up the new organization, assuming this is all the direction we continue to move in, how do we keep the lights on and the 911 calls being answered in the interim while we're also organizing and getting a new organization established? And then the day or the moment that the switch flips, that is just like what we talked about with Lake Michigan Water. Hopefully it's incredibly anticlimactic and no one will notice, that the calls will continue to be answered and services dispatched as effectively as possible. So at this point, we don't have the final AGA in hand. There's been constant, almost daily tweaking at this point and getting the language refined and answering questions that have come up from some of the potential partner agencies. At this point, we're looking for your feedback and direction if there's anything in particular that you want to hear more about or it's anything you don't want to hear more about. And then we'll take that into consideration. We can either come back or we could just start moving forward and getting that final document together.
So anybody have any questions tonight in the meantime? Roger?
I mean, so it's more efficient and cheaper. I mean, I think that's my 2 bullet points, just makes sense. I mean, and from a great PowerPoint, I think, looking at it, I know we've discussed this for a while. I mean, what do we do with our old center? Let's say we move forward with it. What is that?
So as mentioned, in my humble opinion, Lake County's about 15 years behind where they should be. If you go anywhere else, DuPage County, 2 centers for the whole county. Northwest Suburbs, there's a center that has 20 agencies. Will County, very large center. So us having 8 or 9 in the county is crazy to me. But with a large center like that, you have to have a backup center. There are some villages and municipalities who need their center, or it's spoken for, or their lease is up. Our center is well equipped to handle not everybody, but some. So the latest thought process is possibly Lake Zurich would become the call center. Gurnee, who has a center as well, would maybe do the dispatching, so that we have backups now. If our center goes down, we send people to the Lake County Sheriff for police and Countryside Fire for fire. So with modern technology and now being on the same CAD system, you send somebody remotely, they can do the same job. So there is talk of us potentially being a backup center for phones, and then Gurnee possibly doing the dispatching, and that can be all done remotely through the CAD system. But that isn't solidified, as Mr. Keller has told the boards, as long as it's not cost prohibitive for us, or doesn't isn't a burden on us, and something that we have, we're willing to help if that is useful, that space is useful.
Thanks, I'm good.
So the communities that decide to not go with this, would they be stealing customers from the Lake County system?
So that is one of the challenges, is that with all of the PSAPs that are participating, there are limited options for those agencies who don't want to join this consolidated effort to find someone to take their calls. In Lake County, the calls follow primarily the fire districts and fire departments. And so Wakanda Fire Protection District and Lake Zurich Fire, those calls, again, joining a consolidated effort, those calls would follow regardless of whether, let's say, Hawthorne Woods or Killdeer decided their police departments want to find another option or not. That would be up to them to find who would answer their police calls. It's a sticky wicket. It's a difficult challenge. Finding a partner who would be able to accommodate another agency or 2 or 3. There's potential for competition, but by consolidating this effort, we are really, quite frankly, eliminating a lot of the competition that was happening perhaps between us and Foxcom and Mundelein, and between Mundelein and Vernon Hills, and all the give back and trading back, cutting deals for partners to keep them. Because we all run 24/7 operations, regardless of whether we're by ourselves or whether we had partners. By having partners brought down that cost incrementally over the years. And so that was where that competition for subsidizing those 24/7 costs of running a dispatch center originated from.
Yeah, and unfortunately, then they're contributing back to this call transfer. They're not helping that multicolored map if they're a small village and they decide to go to another center. As Mr. Keller said, there's not a lot of options. There's not a lot of reason to do that for the safety of the community.
So there were a couple of bullet points. One of them referenced the Lake County Board's participation. They wouldn't be running this, but they would, it would be responsible to the Lake County Board for whatever, I'm stumbling over my thought here, but.
The governance structure for this organization would be independent of the county. The county would be a member of the dispatch consolidated effort of LakeCom. I think the chief had referred to, and we had shared information previously, you'd seen the headlines that the sheriff at this point had opted out of this consolidated effort. I believe that Lake County Board has stepped in as an organization that the sheriff's office being related to the county is kind of a placeholder, and they're kind of maintaining that space and that effort, that collaborative effort between all of the other PSAP members. Should the sheriff ever join in the future, that's up to the sheriff to work out with the county and with the with LakeCom once it stood up.
And also because they're providing the building. So the long-term lease will go to Lake-Com as an organization, not to the sheriff and not to the Lake County won't have the building. They built the building, they have some say in operationally moving forward, but this joint governance group would be the sole leaseholder.
And without speaking for the county board, their members have, throughout this process, have expressed their support and desire, and Jim, feel free to speak for your bosses if you don't mind. But in summary, the way we've understood it is that the county is looking out for if this consolidated effort benefits all the constituents and residents and partners of Lake County, so that when 911 call goes, that it's not as dependent on which jurisdiction or which side of Rand Road you happen to be on when the call is made. That it is all going more efficiently, effectively to the proper centralized dispatch operation.
So since Jim is here, do you have anything you want to say, Jim? Any comments? You could say no if you don't have anything.
I think the chief has covered it well, but, you know, the county board is very supportive of the process.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, all right.
He's avoiding the microphone at all
Yes.
costs. And I don't blame you. Don't go on the record if you don't have to go on the record.
Okay. Okay, my last bullet point that I want to reference was the no taxes bullet point. This is paid for by taxes, so it's not like there's going to be no taxes, right?
It's not a taxing body.
It's not a taxing body, that's right. Okay.
Everybody pays a surcharge on their cell phone.
Okay.
And the county of Lake
Anybody else?
took care of it.
I have questions.
I don't, go ahead.
Dan?
Mark can go first. Go ahead, Mark.
It's all right. Go on.
Go ahead, Dan.
Go on.
Dan?
No, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to be part of it. Like, why, I don't understand the whole financial aspect of the thing well enough probably, but why would they not want to be part of it?
The competitive market, the competitive environment that we've been dealing with, unfortunately saddles much of the cost on the hosting agency, on the PSAP. And so municipalities have been taking advantage of that. And so that the costs that their costs are not reflecting the true cost, is subsidization, or, you know, what do you want to call it? It's a dirty word in some of the circles that we're in, as far as whether it's socializing the cost, whether it's you know, moving the cost to everybody else. It's just been not reflecting true costs.
And Lake County will own the building, and then this association will lease it?
Lease part of it, because Lake County, remember, has the Emergency Management Department in the other half, and their Emergency Operations Center. So when they were thinking of building a building, could they build something? And this, our study came out to say we really should have a consolidated center. Quite frankly, the county stood up and said we can build it with enough space for everybody, and they did that.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Mark?
So the fee structure, the way it's designed, and the decreasing fee over time, as a government body, I think we'd be selling fool's gold if we told people things would get cheaper over time as people want to renegotiate employment contracts, costs going up and things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily, if I were the organization, and I know we have the administrator in the room, try to sell people on the fact that this is going to become cheaper over time, because that I don't think that's a good way to go about selling anything. Just be honest with people and say that there's going to be efficiencies and there's going to be cost savings overall. But to say that things will become cheaper over time, I think really thinks is selling a bag of goods that maybe can't be supported, because nothing gets cheaper over time. It just doesn't happen. And then with infrastructure improvements, we know, because we've run our own system here. Whenever we had to do an upgrade, it became more expensive. It wasn't cheaper. When you're talking about people's salaries and things like that, it's more expensive. It's not cheaper. My bigger question is, how are communities assess their fair share of paying this bill between small communities and medium-sized communities and larger communities? How is that being divided out in terms of the groups that would be joining in, and how the cost sharing is happening?
For police, it's a percentage of equalized assessed value, sworn number of officers, and population, in differing 39%, 22%, 22%. There's models that have been done. For fire, it is sworn.
Calls for service, population EAV.
For fire, it's calls for service, population, and equalized assessed value. And then these were modeled in 9 different models in different percentages to show the best for the most. So there are some outliers, but for the most part, the model that was chosen with the percentages is the best, the fairest way to spread those over the different models that we had. We used a variety of reasons for that. There are some nuances. So for instance, you have calls for service from fire, you don't have calls for service for police. The way the police system works right now with all these different computer-aided dispatch systems, different agencies count calls different ways. So it's apples and oranges and bananas. And so that didn't work well for police, but for fire, because there are national incident documentation, their numbers were more robust, more even and fair to show that calls for service for fire is a better route to go. So we looked at other large centers that used EAV, that used population, that used, and to try to get out the outliers. So when you have many, many different kinds of communities in the county, the call volume in Gurnee in July is way different than the call volume in Gurnee in January. Vernon Hills on a Saturday afternoon with a retail is very different than a Tuesday afternoon. So almost every community could have, differing things. So these were modeled extensively by a group of finance directors from different villages. And this was come up as a committee to decide this is the best way for the most to split these costs so that not a huge advantage on to large or small or affluent or not affluent to try to smooth that out.
Okay. But EAV is considered as a part of it.
It is
so
part of it, yes.
It's shifting pay ability based on community home values, property values.
Yes.
With a diverse community, which some of those communities that may have lower EAV may require a lot more calls and a lot more service out of the center. Crime factors, things like that, that are very different depending on whether you've got a community with very little retail, let's say, and a lot of the calls may be domestics,
right,
versus a community that may have a lot of retail and those calls are going to be shoplifting calls, right? So,
and that's why the reason number of sworn officers was factored in is because that's usually a pretty good idea of how much call volume you have. If you have extremely high call volume, you may have, a community. We're a similar size to Antioch.
Right.
We have different makeups, though. We have different EAV. We have different staffing numbers. They do different things than we do. So that's the reason with sworn numbers was a pretty good indication that it reflects what your community needs.
okay. Another question I have then. Let's say Lake Zurich is a backup facility, and over time we need upgrades. Who's paying for those upgrades? Are they coming from Lake Com at that point, or is Lake Zurich bearing the costs of that since we're the backup and we're housing the equipment in the location?
To be negotiated. It's our intent that we would provide, as the chief had mentioned, we are receptive to providing that backup function so long as it doesn't negatively hit our budget. Or there's also a space opportunity. I know that the chief always is looking for meeting space and training space, and they just need space at various points. And so we want to make sure that we're not harming or curtailing our own operations. But that is to be determined along with us or with other agencies that might also be interested in that role.
Okay. So, and then staffing that, is that if the center is down and we need to serve as the backup, are people coming over from the Libertyville complex? So I guess just things that are loose ends that are out there that I don't know about and how we would manage that. Are we still going to have someone in there 24/7 so that we can have overnight prisoners in the jail, because that's a requirement if we're going to have people in the jail? So how are we managing all of those extra pieces that are going to be left to us now that if we vacate that space?
There may be some staffing recommendations as we deplete down from 14 other employees. Is there a need or an ability to have someone here that has more? We have administrative calls that come in. We have a robust voicemail and phone system. If we needed more staff, that we felt to do that in coalition or in conjunction with our records department. You have to remember too that we are embarking on a body-worn camera program. body-worn camera program is going to cause us, we think, a significant amount of FOIA issues. Could that be coupled in with some staff that helps with that as well? It wouldn't be, if we were a backup, it wouldn't be 24/7. It would be ready to go if needed. And the way we do it now is if our center goes down, we flip the switch, the phones get transferred to Lake County, we have people go there and to Countryside Fire. Same thing would happen with those two agencies. We have reciprocal agreements where if Lake County's goes down, they do send staff to our organization. We do have one staff member now, but people that are former dispatchers that quite frankly could fire up our center if there was a disaster or a need or a technology failure to get it ready for someone coming over. As far as housing prisoners, that's another thing with staffing. We don't house very many prisoners with the Pretrial Fairness Act. There's not a lot of people getting held, but we do that from time to time. Would we have to hire back because you have to have somebody physically in the building when you're watching somebody overnight, for instance? That would be something that we would look at the time. Whether it's just as if an officer calls in sick on the midnight shift, we call somebody in to work either from the afternoon shift to 3 a.m. or 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. for the morning shift to cover that. We may have to do something similar there. But yeah, that's to be determined, but I don't think it's going to be a large burden only because of the amount of people that we house. Usually for overnight, sometimes 2-3 days if there's bond court, or not bond court anymore, but if there's first appearance court, it's very limited. And there's talks amongst multiple agencies of whether that would be advantageous for someone to communicate that, Libertyville, we have a prisoner tonight. If anybody else has prisoners, bring them over, we'll hold them here together cooperatively or something like that, but that remains to be determined.
I appreciate the responses, and the purpose of my question is this, and but hear me out. So first year, 599,000 versus 865,000, right? But now we have to pay someone, we have to maybe hire staff to go and be in our building. And Doug, I'm just spitballing here, but salary and benefits, let's just ball it at 125, 150,000 a year. Now we're no longer achieving that same savings as we thought with these efficiencies. We're back at the same spot. We're paying the same amount of money going out our door. We're just shifting responsibility to Lakecom for the calls, but we're not saving money. Let's just say what it is. We're just shifting this responsibility there. We're going to have to hire people to help us manage other pieces of it, potentially. And so it allows us to we'll be at a break-even point as we start to bring these on, but we'll be able to bring on someone to do body cam footage, things like that, for the same cost by moving this over there. But overall, we're still going to be spending the same amount of money out of our police department. In a loose sense, again, without having hard numbers, because we're not getting real hard numbers right now. We're getting estimates of what things are going to be, and I truly don't believe they're going to be as cheap as, and I'm not opposed to doing this. I just don't think they're going to be as much of a cost efficiency as it's being advertised right now, because I know that they want to get everyone on board and get people coming in, and I understand that. Thank you. I'll shut up now.
So Chief, I think your job next time, right, or the associations is to come and present the numbers, right, to dispel Mark's concern, right? And I'm sure there is some detail behind those estimates that you presented tonight. So clarity on that piece, you bring some good presence, and you should know.
Escalators were put in there, right, Jim? Escalators were put in to the...
Yes, there were escalators, but yes.
Yeah, so there is some escalation built in. Will it end up being that? You have to be careful of efficiency versus effective and cost. That is not. It's efficiency and it's better service. So I agree 100%. The unknown of a little extra staff, not the 14 we have now, but certainly I understand that.
No, and I appreciate the efficiency piece of it and the economy of scale that's being built in there, and that part I understand. It's just that really getting a handle on the numbers and understanding what really is happening with the numbers, because we were promised by School District 95 that our property tax bill wouldn't go up, and mine went up $900 a year after that referendum went through. So it's easy to say one piece and then, because we don't know, right? And so we've got to project as close as we can because I would hate for us to to tell the community that we're making this decision. And yes, we have the economy of scale, we have the efficiencies and things like that. But oh, by the way, now in our budget, we've got to go for a larger levy. We've got to find other ways to fill this gap because it cost us more than we expected. And then everyone throws their hands up. Oh, we didn't anticipate this or we didn't anticipate that. But that's our job, right? And so I appreciate all the effort and all the work. And I know you've been working really hard on this over the years. But I just want to make sure that we're as transparent as humanly possible about the costs as we go towards Lake Michigan money and things like that. We're trying to do a lot of work. I just want to make sure that we don't miss the boat on this one.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I think the bottom line will be the public relations bit with the community, because our telecommunications system, people pick up the phone, they call 911, they call the non-emergency police number, they get a cop out, they get an EMS guy out, they get a fire guy out. I just hope it's at the same level of proficiency as we got here.
Right, and we'll still have those officers out in the community. Firefighters will still be ready and willing and able to respond, so there won't be a change in who's here. It's just where that call's going to get to here. Right.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I, real quick?
Yep.
Just, first of all, Chief, thanks for the presentation. It's a lot of great information. I've been kind of watching this from a distance. And I just have one point of clarification just to make sure that I understand. So the final organizational governance structure of this organization comes with the second intergovernmental agreement? Is that where it comes?
The first intergovernmental agreement was 8 or 7 public safety answering points. Do you want to contribute to this continuing to go on and submit $50,000 to help a study, which was done. So the second one is actually creating the organization called LakeCom. Right. And with that, everyone is a member. Here's our governing board, representative government. So it's to be a member of that group. That's what the second IGA
Thank you.
is.
Okay, we done?
Yeah, thank you.
Done? Thanks, Chief.
Thanks for
Ray,
all your time.
anything further?
Appreciate it.
Nope. Okay, good deal. Okay, since it's a non-voting item, we're done with this item, and we'll move on to trustee reports. Are there any trustee reports tonight?
I have a quick one. So, I just want to take a second to say thank you to our staff. We had our annual Arbor Day celebration at the park, and I thought the staff did an exceptional job this year. It's always great to have the park clean up, and thanks to all of the residents and volunteers who came out and picked up some garbage and did their part to make our parks look great. But I want to thank the staff. They really did kind of take things to the next level. We had composting, we had shredding. Those were new things. Like Brown's staff was out to plant a tree again, which is always appreciated by the folks that come out. Wanted to say thanks also to some of our community partners. Ancient Oaks had some folks out and about. The Tree Commission was there and did a little presentation, gave a little educational background. So, it's one of my favorite events of the year, and I just want to say thank you to the staff, to the residents, and the volunteers who made it a great morning in Paulus Park.
And I think Bonnie said that it was a record number of people attending and participating this year. So
Yeah, it was very well attended.
all good, all good. Anybody else?
I got one.
Roger?
Another pat on the back to Bonnie and team. They had the Academy of Performing Arts at Wheeling High School. My daughter, 5-year-old, all the way up to high schools. It was one of those cute moments where you're just like, oh crap, how did she get so old? How is this so cute? And you're just sitting there crying, wondering what the hell is happening. So pat on the back to Bonnie and team. They did an excellent job, and it was wonderful.
Be nice to get that here in Lake Zurich instead of having to go all the way to Wheeling, wouldn't it? Just, yeah, I know. Just okay, staff reports. Anybody have a report on the staff tonight? No? Huh? Yeah? No, I don't think so. Okay, that concludes our business for tonight. We will be adjourning to executive session, called for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120/C21, approval of executive session minutes. 5 ILCS 120/2C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. and 5 ILCS 120/2C6, real estate setting price for sale or lease. There will be no voting action or board business discussed after closed session, so the adjournment of closed session will be the final adjournment and the end of the meeting. So may I have a motion to adjourn tonight's regular meeting to executive session?
So moved. Euchre.
Euchre, and a second, please?
Second, Shagru.
And please call the roll, Kathleen.
Trustee Spacone?
Aye.
Trustee Shagru?
Aye.
Trustee Wyder?
Aye.
Trustee Bobrowski?
Aye.
Trustee Euchre?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled village board meeting is Monday, May 20th. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy, and we are now adjourned to executive session.